Another week, BOG, Brothers on the Green. Unfortunately, not a winning week last week. No outright winners. My top 20 lay fell
Cam,
short because of Cam. Missed a cut, fell
Cam.
short because of Cam. So, he's letting us down big time this year, unfortunately. But that's enough Cam Young talk for the week because I'm very disappointed he's not in the field as well.
Yep,
Uh,
move
but
fast.
we got 3M Open this week, right in Minnesota.
Yep.
It's a fun event.
TPC Twin Towers, I think it's called. The
Twin
course.
Cities.
Twin Cities.
Yeah. Uh, not the towers.
Yeah, that's
But
true.
it's a fun tournament to watch. I mean, it's a more relaxed sort of tournament after a major. We've had a few elevated events right after majors this year. And it
Yeah,
does stink the major season's over already. I mean, it's not even August.
it's brutal.
And we don't have anything until next April, right, for the Masters. Which did you do the Masters lottery to try and get any tickets?
Emily did for me, and it didn't work out. I saw this guy on Twitter. His username's RB Aeroff. I don't know exactly how to say it, but it's like RB Baroff, and he's won 3 out of the last 7 years.
That's
Like absurd. He's a big Cam Young guy too, so a lot of respect for him. But
crazy.
it's crazy. He's won 3 out of the last 7 years.
Yeah, I think I'm like 0 for 8 now.
Yeah, I mean, we'll be O for infinity until we're gone.
Probably. So last week, I mean, Scotty just proved himself again to be head and shoulders above everybody, right? I
Yep.
mean, a solid 3 under first round where, he really did not hit his driver well. He had like three fairways, I think, and two of them were 17 and 18. And then, he grinded out a 3 under round. His putting was great all week. Second round, that 7 under really kind of just solidified the tournament as we all kind of knew. We were hoping it wasn't the case and it would be a close come to the end. But, he really just does not make mistakes. He knows how to golf his ball. I
Yep.
mean, as you tweeted out, he birdied 16 the first 3 days, which was a ridiculously hard par three.
And he had a 12-footer on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, he hit a good putt on Sunday. Could have went in for the same price,
Yep.
but he was just incredibly impressive. I mean, those par saves on 6 and 7 on Sunday, and then that one blunder on 8, right? He made that double, but then
Yep.
bounces back immediately with the birdie on
Birdie.
9. Just really, he's in a world of his own right now on the golf course, and it's fun to watch. I mean, you got to really appreciate it while it's happening because this doesn't happen often.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, just skill wise, he's head and shoulders above the rest, but it's also just seems to be like how he manages the his game consistently. Like you just said, 6 and 7, got the up and down when he needed to. That's Sunday, but even like Saturday when he was starting to build that lead, what was it, hole 11? He had that just absurd up and down out of the thickest rough probably on the course, and then I think on 14 it was when he drove it way left, got it way up there, and then made a 10-footer for par. So, I mean, he just knows how to score at an elite level. And it also seems like when he gets that lead, like you said, he's not going to come back to the field. So he really just is impossible to catch unless you're going to have one of those magical Sundays. He's not really going to do you any favors. And when he does, he bounces back the next hole like he did on 8 going into 9 with the birdie. So, I mean, head and shoulders above the best in the world. And it's obviously, it's tough sledding when you're trying to go against him. He's priced the way he is for a certain reason, and he's just one of those guys that's very tough to beat even when you're trying to find some value in the rest of the field.
Yeah, I mean, you hear the other top players, right? Like Rory, like Xander saying he's
Yep.
inevitable. You can't make any mistakes against him. Especially, when his game's in decent form and then he's got the putter.
It's yeah.
The putting is he was the number one in the field last week, right?
That's the first time, yeah, he was first in putting and first in approach. And I mean, if he's any sort of like top any sort of top putter in the field, like we were watching on Sunday together, when we saw 6 and 7 happen, it was just like no words. We were just laughing. We were like, this is just like bullshit. How like good in every moment he is when he has to be.
And they were just center of the hole with good
Oh,
speed,
with
right? I
pace.
mean, it
And
was
then he got the fist pump, like
yeah.
oh, it's that's just because it's like obviously he didn't need to make that to win, but it was just like he wanted to be like, I'm doing this like in the best way possible in a sense. Like I'm not gonna make any bogeys. I know obviously he did on 8, like we said, but he just, played almost near perfect golf the last 54 holes, you could say.
Yeah, and the crowd was motivating him, right? I mean, they were definitely pulling for
That's
Rory. They
great.
were they were chirping him a little bit, which I like. I mean, it was a home game for Rory. Those are his people, and they were pulling for him, but that just gave Scotty even more motivation to,
Yeah.
really just play flawless golf.
One last thing about Scotty, I would say, is that in like these big tournaments, but obviously especially the majors, he never gets behind the eight ball. Like round one, he's always like maybe he's not leader, but he's always like top 15, top 20, and keeping himself in a good spot going into the rest of the week. And I think that's a big, he doesn't have to force the issue ever really. He just stays, pretty consistent with his game, and that obviously, delivers the results that we've seen. But I really think that's a big aspect. Like he never gets himself in a hole where he has to play outside of himself, and obviously it's paid a lot of dividends.
Yeah, so Scotty, champion golf of the year, didn't really seem like it phased him. He was just like, all right, another win. I'm gonna go back home to Texas,
Yeah.
celebrate with my friends and family, and just move on with my life.
Like you said, he's like, why am I? He's like, I don't know why I'm motivated, but I love to compete. And I just think he's really, a sicko underneath everything else. He's just a sick competitor and wants to beat anybody else that's teaming up against him.
Yep. And then a few other guys we wanted to chat about, right? Harris English, obviously, solo second,
Yep.
13 under. Him and Gotterup are playing together. Harris birdied 17 to get one ahead for the solo
And
second.
16. He made like a 35 footer
Oh yeah,
birdie
and
birdie.
16.
Yeah.
So that kind of, is going to lock him up for the Ryder Cup, I would think. I mean, he is sixth in points now. Even if he doesn't finish the year strong, I mean, we probably won't see him until the playoffs.
He's got 2 seconds in majors.
Yeah, he's got 2 seconds in majors. He won at Torrey Pines, right? So he's been
Yeah.
playing these big boy golf courses very well, which Bethpage is a big boy golf course. So it's he's a guy that I'm excited to see play in the Ryder Cup again, and I think he's definitely going to be happy to represent the U.S.
Yeah.
That's exciting to see. Gotterup, another strong finish, New Jersey boy, solo third. I saw something. He came into the trip, the two
Doubled
week
his
trip,
money.
123rd in the world. He left 23rd in the world or something. And
That's sad.
he doubled his career earnings in those 2 weeks. So, life-changing 2 weeks for him. He's still like 22nd, I think, in the Ryder Cup standings, but
Yeah, and he's gone up like probably like 45 ranking, like 45 spots in the last 2 weeks.
yeah, and he's going right back to playing this week. So, he's not trying to take a break. He knows he's young. He's taking advantage of the good form, and he's
Good
really
course
putting
fit.
himself in a spot to make a push for Bethpage. So,
Yep. I agree. I mean, Harris, I think, is a perfect demeanor for the Ryder Cup. Obviously, you got to have your fiery guys, everything like that, but he's just so level headed. I think will be a great, addition to the team come that time of September. And then obviously Gotterup. I mean, he's putting himself in a spot. I do think, he has to have a good closing stretch to the year as well. I don't think, simply 2 weeks of golf is going to solidify it. But if he continues this form and obviously the results come still, I have no doubt, especially with the sort of his game and the course fit it should be at Bethpage. You probably see him there if he closes the season strong.
I mean, that low fade driver works everywhere, but especially Bethpage. I mean,
Yep.
that's a course. I mean, he would have the crowd on his side even more than the average American just from
Oh
being a
yeah,
Northeast guy. Uh, so that's something to look out for, and we need some new young blood on the team. I mean, I'd rather
I
him than
agree.
Morikawa right now.
100%. I mean, Morikawa, Cantley struggling. Ben
They're
Griffin's still up
irrelevant right
there.
now. They just
Morikawa sucks right now. I mean, mentally, he's obviously been in a pretzel ever since his comments, but also just like, stuff's going on in his life. It seems like firing like had two caddies, permanent caddies in a span of about 2 months that he fired Griner, hired Fitzpatrick, old caddy, just for these 2 weeks. So, I mean, he just doesn't seem to have his shit together. And obviously, it's sort of the wrong time for that to be going on.
yeah, and I think it's just, he's been such an elite golfer his whole life that he doesn't know how to handle,
A little
not being
adversity.
confident out there. Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't
It's a
trust his ball. He's obviously a big fader, and it just seems like he isn't doing that consistently, and that's obviously got into him in his head a little bit.
yeah. So then Xander striping the ball last week, couldn't make a putt.
Yeah,
Wyndham Clark, great finish. He shot five
impressive.
over the first round, was 16 under the next three rounds,
Same
right?
with Bryson.
Similar to Bryson, right? Bryson, what did he shoot? Seven over the first round.
Seven over, six under, then I think like three under and another seven under or something. He
Yeah,
finished at
so they were
nine.
both like 16 under the last three rounds, which
Yeah,
is pretty sick. And a lot of that has to do with the conditions. They're high ball, spinny players where, any sort of conditions and that strong
yeah,
Irish breeze comes in, they're going to struggle. But when it's pretty benign conditions,
yeah. Those
they
last
can,
three
they
days
can win
were.
an open,
Yeah,
obviously.
exactly.
So it was a fun week. I mean, it was a good leaderboard overall. Fitzpatrick, right, was in there for a while. McIntyre, was in there the first couple days. Didn't have a good Saturday. Rory, right, Rory was at 10 under. Just
It
really
would have been
couldn't.
so crowded if Scotty didn't pull away. I mean, it would have
Oh, it
been
would
a
have been a great
stuffed
finish.
leaderboard. Yeah,
It would have been a great finish. So yes, that was the British Open or the Open. Royal Portrush, I thought was a great test. Any courses on the Open Rota, if you have pretty low winds, right, and not a lot of rain and
got
conditions,
after them.
they're going to tear it up,
Yeah,
right? And especially wasn't very firm, really. I mean, some of those drives were rolling out, but the greens were pretty receptive. I felt like for most of the week.
100%.
So yeah, it was a fun event to watch. Looking forward to the 3M Open, and then the playoffs will be here shortly.
Yeah, but
All
yeah,
right,
let's get
so
into the 3M a little bit.
yeah, let's get into the 3M. So I think this is like the sixth or seventh year it's been at TPC Twin Cities.
Yep,
It's a pretty, decently long course, 7,400. A lot of water in play, right? Holes with water in play. I think it was like 15 or 16. Johnny Vegas won here last year, and he
yep,
also came tied second the year before. So he has some sort of you know, this course fits his eye for some reason. He putts well here when he normally that's his weak part of his game is the putting.
yeah,
So the par threes, they're pretty long, right? They're a little over 200 yards on average. Par fours about 440 average, right? The three tougher par fours on the course, all in the front nine. And then the par fives, right? A little under 600 yards, but those are the birdie holes, right? Those are the three easiest holes on the course,
yeah,
are the par fives. So you got to take advantage of those. And it's really a big course. It's a big time driver's course, right? If you're hitting your driver straight, distance definitely matters. But you got a guy like Matt Kuchar last year who was 15 under, right? He shot
yep,
even on Sunday. So he had a great chance to win it last year, and he's one of the shorter hitters on tour.
yep,
Other than that, a lot of long hitters were in contention here last year. JJ Spawn played here well last year, another shorter guy. So, distance definitely helps, right? Like it does anywhere. But
yeah.
if you can just get the ball and play consistently off the tee all week,
You have a lot of looks.
you'll have plenty of opportunities to
Yeah.
score, whether, you're one of the shorter hitters on tour or one of the longer hitters.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely do think, distance, like you said, it's going to be beneficial if you're having that. But the main thing, like, there's 15 holes with water in play, and most of that's going to be off of the tee, not as much coming to the greens from what I could tell. So obviously, it's a matter of having control of your golf ball. And if you could get it out there with some distance and you're controlling it, I mean, you're really out of trouble then. And it's just a matter of trying to throw a bunch of darts at these flags. Because from what I could see, greens are pretty receptive. I saw Tom Hogue talking about the greens being pretty much in perfect condition, pretty in terms of just like making putts on them. He thought that there's going to be a lot of made putts this week with the condition of the greens. But I mean, all in all, I think it's my card's probably dictated towards the better drivers of the golf ball simply due to the fact that it's a bit of a longer course, and if they can have control of it this week, they should be in pretty good shape heading into the greens with how easy they are compared to some other places that they stop on the PGA Tour. So that's sort of what I'll be looking for.
Yeah, and it's one of those courses, it's really hot and humid up there this time of the year, and it's usually pretty
Yeah,
soft.
exactly.
So controlling your spin coming into the greens very important.
Yeah,
Just looking at the wind finder today and tomorrow, extremely windy. Thursday and Friday is very benign. Actually doesn't look too hot, right? It looks like it's going to be a couple beautiful days. I don't see much of an advantage AM or PM, which you do like to see.
yeah,
Saturday, a little more gusty. Sunday, a little bit of higher sustained wind. So the weekend will be a little bit windier, but I see them going pretty low out there this week given the conditions.
Yeah, I mean, the last we had Vegas last year was 17 under. Hodges in 23 was 24 under, and then for the most part, the scores range from like all the way from 15 with Cam Champ in 2021 to 21 under with Matt Wolf in 2019. So I mean, you're gonna have to go probably 20 under or lower. I'm assuming with the conditions to have a chance this week.
Yeah, Lee Hodges, right, was 24 under
Yeah.
in 2023, but he won by 7, which is pretty
Exactly. So I
crazy.
mean, usually the guys are sitting around like that. It seems like at least 17 under these last 3 years outside of sort of Hodges being sort of a one-off in a sense.
Yep. All right, so let's get into the picks. Be a little bit of a quicker episode tonight. And then from there, we'll next week we'll probably talk a little bit more Ryder Cup, right? Wyndham next week is it's actually turned into a bigger event, considering it's the last event of the year, right? And you got to
Good
get
point.
inside that top 100 to keep your card now instead of the top 125. And then we'll get the FedEx Cup playoffs, we'll get the Ryder Cup, and then it's straight into the fall events, right? Which are again becoming more interesting because those
I
guys
love those
50 outside of the top 50, right, are trying to play their way into, some elevated events next
events.
year in the fall.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so I'll start off with my first pick. My lowest odds guy this week is Max Gracerman. So, Max has been playing some solid golf. Obviously, he came second here last year to Johnny Vegas, where he shot 8 under on Sunday, right? Played a great Sunday, and it's kind of where he broke through on tour
Yeah,
last year. So he didn't play great over in Scotland and Northern Ireland, right? Two missed cuts. Um, Not much to, really take out of that. It probably didn't feel
just
very
playing well
comfortable over there.
beforehand.
Yeah, he probably hasn't played much links golf in his life, right? He didn't get
Yeah,
into those events last year. So, he didn't really lose many strokes total, under a half a stroke in both of them. So he didn't play bad golf, just really wasn't able to get the ball in the hole in an efficient manner. But
yeah.
before that, right, he lost in a playoff at the Rocket Classic, tied for second. And then, 3 or 4 straight top 25s before that.
Hmm.
So he's in good form. I like where he's at. It's just gotta his approach play's got to step up a little bit this week. His putter's been pretty solid. It's kind of hit or miss, but it's been on the more solid side.
Yeah,
And the off the tee has been solid right before again he went over the pond the last couple weeks.
and he's deep.
He's deep. Yeah, he hits the ball very far. And you never really look at him and think he's going to be a deep sort of player, but he is. He can definitely move the ball out there. So I got Gracerman 28 to 1. I think they're showing him respect in the odds this week for a reason.
Yeah.
And I like where his game is at. And I'll probably take him next week again if he doesn't win this week. Just he had a good end to the season here last year, and I
Hmm.
think his game's
That's where
rounding
he
into.
choked next week, right? That's
Oh, he
where
blew it.
he had a quad.
Made a quad on 14, then birdied 15, then doubled 16.
It was I remember that. That was oof, he was up by four with an Aaron Rye came and stole it. Yep, I
Yeah.
remember.
And that was when
Yep.
Kuchar didn't finish the 18th hole. He made everyone come back for 4 minutes on Monday morning
I
for
know,
him
I
to get
remember
up and
that.
down, be like tied for 10th.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's my first pick, Max
All right.
Grayson.
I like that. So you got Gracerman. I'm gonna start off my card with again a consistent guy on my card now for the past month and a half. It seems I got Michael Thorbjornsen. He's at 35 to 1. And I mean, I've obviously been high on Thorbjornsen throughout the year and pretty much throughout his career, even though he's gotten off to a bit of a slower start than maybe some anticipated. But again, with JJ on the bag, seems to be a pretty good addition. They've been playing some pretty solid golf consistently now since he's actually gotten healthy. And I just simply think again, course fit wise, he's long and straight off the tee, so that's obviously going to be a big benefit for him. And if he can find a hot week with the putter, similar to what he saw at the Rocket Classic when he came in second, just missed out in the playoff, I think he's going to have a really good chance on Sunday. Just because again, his talent, he's going to be a winner on the tour soon, and I think it's a pretty solid chance he has this week with it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, we're both big fans of Thorbjornsen, another Northeast guy that just absolutely bombs the ball.
Yep,
He's
10 finger grip.
starting to get more and more control with his wedge shots again, similar to the Rocket Classic where he just missed the playoff. If he can just get a little better at flighting those wedges, right,
That's
flighting
it.
those irons, he's going to become one of the best players in the world without a doubt at some point in his career. So,
I agree.
this is a tournament where a lot of people have broken through, like Matt Wolff, right? Morikawa.
Yep.
Um, it's kind of started their careers and, got them on the right track on the tour. So I
Yep.
like that pick.
Beautiful.
All right, so my second pick, I got Tony Finau this week at 40 to 1. I feel like he's starting to round into a little bit of form. At the Open, he played well last week, right? He did not have a good Sunday, where he ended up finishing T56. What did he shoot on Sunday?
He was in top 10.
Yeah, he shot 72, 75 over the weekend. So not a good weekend, obviously. But he actually gained strokes putting, which is a good sign for Finau. And he's gained five of the last seven events on the greens, which is a great sign. He's somehow lost four straight events off the tee.
I've
I,
seen that.
I
Yeah.
think that's something that could turn around quickly, and that's really all he'll need to make up that gap, right? Is if he can just get some good tee shots in the air to start Thursday and get some confidence with the driver. He's won here in the
He's
past.
won
He's
here. Yeah.
These are the type of events that he wins, right? Is these sort of normal PGA Tour events.
Yeah.
So I do like Finau giving himself a chance, and he's due for a win. I mean, he hasn't won in a
In a
couple years
while.
now. So yeah,
Yeah.
I like Finau.
I like that. I mean, I definitely think Tony's rounding the form. I'm not sure if you saw the video. He has this new like contraption or device he has.
Oh, for the putting.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously worked a little bit for him, but it was definitely interesting to see. But like you said, if he finds something with the driver and his putting can stay like that, it's obviously, of course, that fits his game, seeing that he's won here in the past.
Yeah, so I got Finau 40 to 1.
All right. And then so my second guy, I'm going with Jake Knapp at 40 to 1. He's actually down to 28 to 1 now, I saw, but I was able to get that in before his odds got steamed down a little bit. And I mean, with Knapp, he's played. I'd say he's had a little bit of an up and down here. He's had obviously a lot of highs in these types of tournaments. I would say where you have to have some pretty low scores. We go back to the Honda Classic, which honestly I've seen a lot of people comparing the PGA National to this course in terms of just all the water danger that's around. A lot of birdie opportunities, stuff like that. So I think Knapp also going back to the Rocket Classic missed out on the playoff by one similar to Thorbjornsen, and also similar to Thorbjornsen, he's deep and pretty accurate off the tee. So again, that's sort of what I'm looking for here. He can get a hot putter here and there as well. So if he can again have some control of his golf ball off the tee, like we've seen him have for a little while now, and get a hot putter, I sort of see him getting into contention as well. And it's just a matter with Nat. We've talked about it going back to the Scottish. He's had some issues on Sundays, but if he could obviously figure that out a little bit, he's had the game to put himself in position. It's just a matter of sort of crossing the line at this point.
Yeah, I mean, he's playing great golf. Unfortunately, the Scottish Open Sunday, right, didn't let him get into the
That
Open
was
last week.
brutal.
Yeah, that was a brutal finish, right? He had a tough Sunday at the Honda, which, he does. It seems like these courses with water, right? He won in Mexico, where there's a decent amount of hazards.
Yeah.
Um, and he likes to flight his wedges, so I think that's good for these sort of soft greens.
And a lot of drivers, I feel.
Yeah, no, yeah, he always is flighting it. Unless it's
Mm-hmm.
wide open, he'll rip at it, but
Yeah,
he likes to control his ball with flight.
exactly.
All right, so I like that. I like our four picks so far. Feeling good for this week. Feeling good. My third pick. You doing four picks as well?
Yeah.
All right, so my third pick is Emiliano Grillo. Um, Not a good week last week, right at the Barracuda, missed the cut. John Deere's, he came in second 3 weeks ago now.
Yeah.
So he's the good form's in there somewhere. The Rocket Classic, not a great week, but before that he had four straight top 20s, including the US Open. So he's a very hit or miss player, right? I mean, he can go out shoot 75 on Thursday or he can shoot 65. Um, but I do like where his game is at, and with him, it's really a lot of mental stuff. If he's feeling good, he's feeling confident, that really is going to bode well for him, which I think he is in, decent form where he should feel pretty confident. So, not much to throw in there stats wise or anything, just a feel play really with
Yeah.
Emilio.
No, I mean I like that. Obviously, like you said, he lost in a playoff to Campbell at the John Deere, and I mean that was definitely a tough loss. But obviously, Grillo won.
And
Has
he
he won a
came
couple times?
T24 here last year, so played solid.
Yeah. So I mean, I know, but where did he? does he only have one PGA Tour winner, or does he have a couple?
Let me see.
I mean, either way, I remember that he at least has one in the past, so he's proven that. And like you said, he's sort of hit or miss, and I think it's always tough to come back after a playoff loss that first start. So, not too surprising to me that he didn't play too well at the Barracuda, and hopefully just sort of now back on track a little bit and has some good form again.
Yeah, he won the Charles Schwab in 2023,
Yeah,
and then it says he won the Fries.com Open in 2015. I don't know if that's a
that might be like
it says it's PGA Tour, but it sounds like a Corn Ferry event.
we'll take it. 2 wins for Emiliano.
Yeah, so I got Grillo, 50 to 1.
All right.
Again, those are some of his lowest odds in a while, which I do like.
Yeah. All right. So then my third guy, I'm going with Cam Champ at 50 to 1 as well. And similar to Grillo, didn't play too well last week at the Barracuda. I believe he missed a cut as well. But Champs has, he sort of had some sort of resurgence, right? He's had a lot of quality finishes, going back to sort of courses again that fit his game where it's, a bit more open, able to rip driver. And he's found at least some improvement with the wedges and obviously some improvement on the greens as well to get to the finishes that he has. And like we said, he's won here in the past. He won in 2021 at 15 under, two clear of second place. So clearly a course that he's had success at in the past. And I assume, likes the, look of it, when he's standing on the tee, everything like that with how aggressive he could be with the driver. So at 50 to 1, maybe not the best number for where Cam Champ has been at with his game the last couple of years. But I think he's showing some form. And if he's going to get a win, I definitely see it being at a course like this and an event like this.
Yeah, I mean, he was playing a full Corn Ferry schedule right to start the year.
Yeah.
And then before last week, he played great the opening round. And then to
Yeah.
start
And
the
then
second round, he went like double, double, bogey,
minus
bogey,
six or
triple.
something. Or yeah,
Yeah, he like blew up completely.
yeah,
So I kind of think that's just,
a bad
probably
round.
had some bad luck in there. You couldn't track anything last week, so you don't really know what happened.
Yeah,
But that's one of those things where it happens in golf, right? But before that,
exactly.
the four events before that, I was listening to Rick Rungood before. He gained across the bag for four straight
Yeah,
events, which is
impressive.
big for Cam Champ. Usually he's, gonna be losing whether it's around the greens or putting. To gain for four straight is, it definitely shows that his game is in good form right now.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, and my last pick is, I think it's the first lefty that I've picked this year, Matt McCarty.
Oh,
Matt McCarty, he's a guy that is a winner, right? I mean, he won three times out in the Corn Ferry last year,
yeah.
came over, won his second PGA Tour event of his career, right? Or maybe not of his career, but of his actual PGA Tour career. After
Yeah.
graduating from the Corn Ferry, he won the Black Desert Championship in the fall. So, he knows how to win. His game is trending, right? He had a
Mhm.
T4 at the Canadian Open, T19 at the Rocket Classic, right? T22 at the Scottish Open. So
Yep.
out of the last five events, right? Top 25. Cut at the U.S. Open, cut at the Open, right? Again, learning how to play in majors. That's a different level of golf.
Yeah.
But I do like where he's at right now. He's a solid approach player. He's solid off the tee, right, in terms of accuracy. He's not very long off the tee, but he is solid with the accuracy, and he's a solid approach player, which those are really the two main things. He's a
Yep.
streaky putter, right? He gained two strokes putting at the Rocket Classic, loses 1.3 at the John Deere, right? Gained at the Scottish, lost at the Open. So he's hit or miss.
Yeah.
But at those odds and the way he's trending right now, he's a guy, if he can just get a sniff of contention coming into the weekend,
He could win.
I think he can fare pretty well, against a field like this.
I mean, I agree. Like I've always thought that with guys that are volatile on the greens, you don't really mind them from outrights because if you get their good week, obviously that's a leg up for you, and it's probably, a sign that they're going to be in contention come Sunday, and that's really all we're looking for. So I mean, I like that at that number.
Yep.
And then my last guy. So I mean, I've only got this number on one book. I was telling you about it, but Luke Clinton, he's 90 to 1 on Bet365, and I mean, I think that number is absurd. I was considering him when I saw him on just FanDuel DraftKings around 50 to 1, when they originally released the line, but seeing at 90 to 1 on Bet365, I think that's just an absurd number. And I think like it's sort of, the look the look at how people perceive Clan, it seems like it's sort of shifting a little bit due to his slower start since he's become a professional. And that's sort of what I'm looking to capitalize on, getting some nice numbers like this on the talent that he is. He's shown he has the ability to contend pretty heavily at PGA events when he was an amateur. And now that he's a pro, I think, it's taken some time to adjust. But I thought one big thing for him was that he was +2 at the Scottish Open heading into the back nine Friday, went 4 under to make the cut. Maybe he didn't have the best weekend, but that was pretty big for him to make the cut on the number, go 4 under, make the cut in a field like that. So I think that's a sort of a momentum builder. And his simple, like as simple as it is, he's just putted horribly. Like his ball striking numbers, if you look at them, they're still in a good spot. So if that can continue and we see some turnaround with the putter, again, he's definitely deep off the tee and he usually has some decent control. So if that stays consistent and he could find a hot week with the putter, that 90-1 number that you're getting at Bet365 is just way too high for the type of player that Clinton is.
Yeah, he's just looking for really that first solid week as an actual pro out here.
Yeah.
Um, I
I
saw
just think once
something.
he gets in contention, though, that'll
Oh
sort of
yeah,
just kick back in because that's what he's been doing, whether it be college
he
or
just got
the
to get
events
off
he
to a good
played.
start, right? Go shoot
Yes,
3, 4 under your first nine, and then he's right back in it.
exactly.
And don't make any of those soft bogeys that he's been making.
I know. And I think like around the green won't be as big here, just in the sense that it seems like, you're hitting greens at a higher percentage than you are most other weeks. So hopefully doesn't have to utilize the short game too much. And simply again, if he can see some putts going early, sort of like you referenced, I think that's going to be a big indicator to, how his week goes almost.
Yeah. So those are our picks this week. Again, we are gonna post all those. I just put together a little top 20 parlay, which I think is very interesting. I got Eric Van Rooyen plus 360 and Chris Kirk plus 360 somehow, plus
Kirk,
2,000.
yeah, I mean Kirk's been in good form. That's a tough
Yeah,
number.
that's a big number. So plus 2,000 for those two guys just to finish top 20. Um,
Solid.
yeah, I think that's a pretty solid wager. So those are our again, those are our picks. We'll get them up on X. We'll get them up on Instagram. Post some clips up there. And next week, Wyndham, last regular season event of the PGA Tour year.
We'll do a Ryder Cup update after the season ends.
Yeah, we'll do the Ryder Cup after the season ends. Do you know if there's any sort of break in between Wyndham and the FedEx Cup playoffs? Probably not, right?
No, it goes right into it the next week. And where do they start off in Memphis?
Yeah, the FedEx,
Yeah, the St. Jude. Yeah,
St. Jude. Yeah. All right, perfect. So that is episode I don't even know at this point.
whatever.
Um, we'll see you guys next week.